I want you two to meet so I can finally decide who I should choose, she said after inviting her ex to our anniversary dinner. I said, let me help you decide, and left the restaurant. Her ex followed me out 5 minutes later. She texted us both all night. Neither responded. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I honestly thought I was the one. That sounds pathetic to say now, sitting here with a cold beer and a sense of freedom I haven't felt in years, but at the time, I was all in. I'm Mark, 29M, and I've been dating Vanessa, 27F, for exactly 2 years. Or I was until last night. To understand why what happened at the restaurant was so insane, you have to understand the dynamic between us. I was the safe guy. I'm an actuary. I make good money. I own my apartment. I have a 401k, and I'm generally pretty chill. I don't scream. I don't throw things, and I treat people with respect. Vanessa loved that about me, or at least, she said she did. She often told me I was her anchor after a turbulent 20s spent dating artists and visionaries who usually ended up borrowing her car and crashing it. The most prominent of those ghosts was Jason. Jason was the ex-boyfriend she broke up with 6 months before meeting me. From what she told me, their relationship was a roller coaster of high highs and subterranean lows. He was a musician, talented, allegedly, but chaotic. He cheated, he lied, he disappeared for days. But she always described their connection as electric. Whenever she talked about him, her eyes would get a little too wide, her voice a little too animated. You're good for me, Mark, she used to say, squeezing my hand. You're healthy. Jason was an addiction. I took that as a compliment. I shouldn't have. About a month ago, things started getting weird. Vanessa became glued to her phone. She started using phrases like finding my truth and optimizing my future. She told me she was feeling stifled by the routine of our life, the same routine that paid for her organic groceries and the weekend trips she loved posting on Instagram. I asked her if she wanted to talk. She said she was just processing. Then came our anniversary. 2 years. I decided to go big. I wanted to remind her that stable didn't mean boring. I booked a table at Lob City Inn, the kind of place where the menu has no prices, the lighting is so dim you need a flashlight to see your fork, and the reservation list is 3 months long. It was going to be $1,000 night, easily. I bought her a vintage necklace she'd been eyeing on Etsy. I was ready to recommit. I arrived 15 minutes early to ensure everything was perfect. I checked the wine list. I adjusted my tie. I sat there, watching the door, feeling that nervous excitement you get when you really love someone. At 7:30 p.m. sharp, the hostess opened the heavy oak doors. Vanessa walked in. She looked stunning in a black dress I'd bought her for her birthday. My heart actually skipped a beat. And then, walking in right behind her, was a guy in a leather jacket and distressed jeans that looked out of place among the suits and evening gowns. It was Jason. I froze. My first thought was, what a nightmare coincidence. I thought maybe they had bumped into each other at the valet stand. Maybe he was here with someone else. But they weren't separating. They were walking together, toward my table. The hostess looked confused, glancing at her reservation tablet, then at me. Vanessa whispered something to her, pointed at me, and kept walking. I stood up, my brain misfiring. Vanessa? What's going on? She didn't hug me. She didn't kiss me, happy anniversary. She just gestured to the empty chair opposite me. Sit down, Mark, she said. Her voice wasn't nervous. It was commanding, almost professional. She turned to Jason. You sit there. She pointed to the chair next to me. Jason looked just as confused as I felt. He looked at me, then at Vanessa, then around the restaurant. Ness, what is this? You said you wanted to talk about us. Who is this guy? This is Mark, she said, taking the seat across from us. She smoothed her napkin over her lap with terrifying calmness. My boyfriend of 2 years. Jason's jaw dropped. You're what? You told me you were single. You said you broke up with the boring accountant months ago. I didn't say we broke up, she corrected him, picking up the menu and glancing at it casually. I said I was done with the dynamic. And I am. I was still standing. The blood was pounding in my ears. The waiter approached, sensing the tension, and hovered awkwardly. Vanessa, I said, my voice low but hard. Why is your ex-boyfriend at our anniversary dinner? She closed the menu and looked at me. Her eyes were clear, devoid of any guilt. She looked like a CEO conducting a performance review. Because I'm at a crossroads, Mark, she said. And I'm tired of the what-ifs. I'm tired of wondering if I settled for safety with you. And I'm tired of wondering if the passion with Jason is worth the chaos. I'm 30 years old next year. I don't have time to make mistakes anymore. She clasped her hands on the table. So, she continued, I decided the only way to make a truly informed decision is to see you two side by side. I want you to meet. I want you to talk. I want to see who actually fights for me. The silence that followed was heavy enough to crush the table. Jason looked at me. I looked at Jason. You're joking, Jason said. You brought me here for a what? A bake-off. A comparison, she said. Mark, you offer stability, financial security, and loyalty. But you lack fire. You're predictable. Jason, you have the fire, the chemistry, the history. But you're a mess. I need to know if Mark can step up and show some passion, or if Jason can prove he's grown up enough to be a partner. She picked up her water glass and took a sip, looking between us expectantly. Well, she asked, aren't you going to introduce yourselves? I looked at this woman. I looked at the face I had kissed every morning for 700 days. I looked for a trace of a joke, a prank, a mental breakdown. There was none. She was dead serious. She truly believed she was the main character of the universe, and we were just supporting actors auditioning for the role of husband. She had humiliated me in public. She had lied to Jason. She had turned our relationship into a game show. But the weirdest thing happened. I didn't feel the crushing heartbreak I expected. I didn't feel the urge to beg her to send him away. I didn't feel jealousy. I felt the ick. It hit me like a physical wave. A total, immediate, and permanent loss of attraction. It was like a switch flipped in my brain. I looked at her, and I didn't see my girlfriend. I saw a narcissist with a severe detachment from reality. I looked at Jason. He was still processing, looking like he wanted to crawl under the table. He wasn't my enemy. He was just another victim of whatever this was. I took a deep breath. The waiter was still hovering, clutching his notepad, eyes wide. You want us to fight for you? I asked calmly. Vanessa smiled, a small, smug curl of her lips. She thought she had me. She thought I was about to get angry, to get possessive, to prove my passion. I want you to show me why I should choose you, she said. I nodded slowly. I reached into my pocket, pulled out my wallet, and took out a $20 bill. I placed it gently on the table next to the untouched bread basket. Okay, I said. I'm ready to give you my answer. Vanessa leaned forward, eyes glittering. She looked like a judge on The Voice waiting for the first note of a song. She thought this was it. The moment the safe guy finally exploded with jealousy and professed his undying need for her. I buttoned my jacket. I looked her dead in the eye. That's an easy choice, I said, my voice steady and loud enough for the tables around us to hear. I withdraw my application. Let me help you decide. Pick him. Her smile faltered. Excuse me. You heard me, I said. I'm not a contestant, Vanessa. I'm a partner. Or I was. But I don't audition for my own relationship. If you're confused after 2 years, then you already have your answer. I turned to Jason. He was staring at me with his mouth slightly open. She's all yours, man, I said to him. Good luck. Seriously, you're going to need it. I turned my back on her before she could respond. I didn't want to see her face crumble or, worse, see her try to spin it. I just wanted out. I walked to the maitre d' stand at the front. My heart was racing, but my hands were steady. The manager looked at me with concern. He had clearly seen the whole thing. Sir, he asked. I'm leaving, I said, keeping my voice low and professional. The lady at table 4 is staying. However, the reservation was under my card. Please remove my card from your file immediately. Do not charge me for anything beyond the water I didn't drink. You'll need to get a new method of payment from her before you serve the first course. The manager nodded, a look of understanding and pity in his eyes. Understood, sir. I'll handle it. I'm sorry about your evening. Don't be, I said. It was very educational. I walked out into the cool night air. The valet saw me and jogged to get my car. I stood there, taking a deep breath, looking at the city lights. I expected to feel devastated. Instead, I felt lighter, like I had just dropped a 100-pound rucksack I didn't know I was carrying. I was reaching for my keys when the restaurant doors burst open behind me. I braced myself. I thought it was Vanessa, coming to scream at me, or beg, or make a scene. Hey, wait up. It wasn't Vanessa. It was Jason. He was practically running. He looked frantic. He stopped a few feet away from me, breathing hard. Dude, he said, holding his hands up. I swear to God, I didn't know. I looked at him. Up close, I could see the panic in his eyes. He wasn't the bad boy villain Vanessa had painted him to be. He was just a guy. She told me she was single, Jason said, the words tumbling out. She texted me out of the blue yesterday. Said she had closure she needed to give me. Said she wanted to meet at a nice place to apologize for how things ended between us. She never mentioned you. She never said anniversary. She never said anything about a competition. I believed him. It tracked perfectly with Vanessa's main character syndrome. She had manipulated the narrative for both of us to set up her perfect dramatic climax. I believe you, I said. She told me she wanted to celebrate our anniversary. She never mentioned you either. Jason shook his head, looking back at the restaurant door like it was a haunted house. That was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Who does that? Who sits two guys down and asks them to debate? Someone who thinks she's the prize, I said. Well, she's not, Jason said, rubbing the back of his neck. The second you stood up, I looked at her, and she was just staring at the empty chair like she couldn't process the error code. I told her, "You're insane," and I walked out right behind you. We stood there for a second in the valet circle. Two guys who, 10 minutes ago, were supposed to be rivals fighting to the death for the heart of a fair maiden. Now, we were just two survivors of a train wreck. So, Jason said, looking at me. She's in there alone? Yep, I said. And you canceled the payment? Yep. Jason let out a short, incredulous laugh. Damn, that's cold. I respect it. My car pulled up. The valet opened the door. I looked at Jason. I'm going to grab a beer at that dive bar, the Rusty Knot, about 2 blocks down. I need to wash the taste of this night out of my mouth. You want to come? Jason didn't hesitate. Hell yes. I'm buying. We sat in a dark booth at the Rusty Knot. It was the polar opposite of Lob City Inn. Sticky floors, cheap beer, and a jukebox playing AC/DC. It was bizarrely therapeutic. Jason and I compared notes. The picture that formed was horrifying. She used to do this thing, Jason said, taking a pull of his beer, where she'd compare me to her dad. My dad would have fixed that shelf already. My dad makes more money than you. It drove me nuts. She did the same to me, I said, but she compared me to you. Jason was so spontaneous. Jason understood my artistic side. Jason snorted. Spontaneous? I was unemployed, man. I didn't have a schedule. And artistic? I play bass in a cover band. She hated my band. She called it noise pollution until we broke up. Then suddenly, I was a tortured genius. We realized we were two sides of the same coin. Vanessa didn't want Mark, and she didn't want Jason. She wanted a hybrid monster, someone with my bank account and Jason's free time, with none of our actual human needs. She wanted a fan, not a partner. Then, the phone started. My phone lit up first. Vanessa, 5 missed calls. Then Jason's phone buzzed on the table. Vanessa, 3 missed calls. We looked at each other. Don't answer, I said. No way, Jason said. Let's see the text though. We opened our messages. It was a masterclass in spiraling. My phone, 8:15 p.m. Where did you go? This isn't funny, Mark. 8:17 p.m. The waiter just asked me for a card. You seriously canceled the payment? On our anniversary? That is financial abuse. 8:20 p.m. Mark, come back. We can talk about this. I just wanted to be sure. Isn't it better that I'm honest about my feelings? 8:25 p.m. Pick up the phone. Everyone is staring at me. Jason's phone. 8:16 p.m. Why did you follow him? He's boring, remember? You hate guys like him. 8:19 p.m. Jason, don't leave me here. I don't have my wallet. I switched purses for the outfit. 8:22 p.m. I made a mistake. It was always you. That's why I called you. Come back and let's leave him out of this. We put the phones side by side on the sticky table. She's telling me she made a mistake and it's me, Jason said, reading my screen. And she's telling you she made a mistake and it's you. She's triangulation personified, I said. She's panicking because for the first time in her life, the audience walked out of the theater. She doesn't have her wallet? Jason asked, frowning at the text. She never brings it on dates, I said. She says it ruins the line of her dress. Jason winced. Lob City Inn has a $150 per person cancellation fee if you leave after being seated. Plus the water. Ouch, I said. Hope she can call her dad. The text shifted tone around 9 p.m. My phone. You are a coward. A small, Insecure man. I gave you a chance to prove you were an alpha, and you ran away. I'm done with you. Don't bother coming home tonight. I'm changing the locks. Jason's phone. You're just as useless as you were 2 years ago. Enjoy your loser life. I laughed. She can't change the locks, I told Jason. It's my apartment. Her name isn't on the lease. Does she know that? She's about to find out. We stayed at the bar until closing. We didn't talk about her much after the first hour. We talked about sports, music, and the weird reality of being in your late 20s. Jason was actually a cool guy. He wasn't the demon I'd been jealous of. He was just a guy trying to figure it out, same as me. When we left, we shook hands. Thanks for the beer, I said. Thanks for the save, Jason said. And hey, sorry about your anniversary. Best anniversary I ever had, I said honestly. It's the day I got my life back. I didn't go home that night. I stayed at a hotel. I knew she would be at my place, waiting to stage Act 2 of her drama. The screaming, the crying, the throwing of objects. I wasn't interested in Act 2. I texted my landlord the next morning. I told him I had a guest who refused to leave and I might need the locks changed if she wasn't gone by noon. I sent Vanessa one single text. We are done. You have until 12 p.m. today to remove your things from my apartment. Anything left after 12:01 p.m. will be placed on the curb. Do not contact me again. She didn't believe me. She texted back a paragraph about how I was overreacting to a test of love. I didn't respond. I went to work. At 12:30 p.m., I went home with my brother and 2 of his friends for backup. Vanessa was still there, sitting on the couch, waiting for a fight. When she saw the 3 of us and the boxes I brought, she realized the audience wasn't coming back. The reality set in. She cried. She screamed. She tried to hug me. She tried to slap me. I didn't engage. I just packed. My brother stood between us like a bouncer. It took 2 hours to clear her out. She left screaming that I would regret this, that I would never find anyone like her. That's the plan, I muttered as I closed the door. 6 months later, I'm dating someone new. Her name is Sarah. She's a nurse. She's funny, kind, and when we go to dinner, she brings her wallet. I heard from a mutual friend about what happened to Vanessa. After the dinner from hell, she tried to spin the story on social media. She posted a long, tearful video about how she was abandoned by 2 toxic men who couldn't handle a strong woman exploring her options. It might have worked, except Jason saw it. He didn't write a long post. He just commented underneath. You invited your ex to your anniversary dinner and asked us to debate who loved you more. We both left because that's psychotic. Also, you still owe me $20 for the Uber. The comment got more likes than her video. She deleted the post an hour later. Last week, I got a notification on my Ring doorbell. I was in the kitchen making dinner with Sarah. I checked my phone. It was Vanessa. She looked different, tired, less put together. She was standing on my porch, shifting her weight. She rang the bell. Who is it? Sarah asked. Nobody, I said. I tapped the microphone button on the app. You're trespassing, I said through the speaker. Vanessa jumped. She looked up at the camera, her eyes filling with tears. Mark? Please. I just want to talk. I miss you. I realized I was wrong. I don't want Jason. I don't want anyone else. I just want my anchor back. I looked at the screen. I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no spark. Just the indifference of watching a stranger. There's no anchor here, Vanessa, I said. Just a guy who's happy you're gone. Leave, or I'm calling the police. She stood there for a long moment, staring at the plastic lens of the camera, waiting for the door to open, waiting for the safe guy to cave. I closed the app and put my phone face down on the counter. Everything okay? Sarah asked, handing me a glass of wine. Yeah, I said, kissing her forehead. Just a wrong number. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.